You want to ask?
I got caught up in this story. I was
It's
like,
okay.
okay,
I'll just move on.
interesting. Where do we start?
Where do we start? Okay. For those who know me, hi, and for those who don't, my name is Piyush Bhandari, and I was born and brought up in Jaipur. Did my schooling from St. Xavier's, Jaipur, and then started my further stint into the professional world. Coming from a small town family with a family of engineers and chartered accountants, that was the natural progression, right? कि commerce कर लिया है, now straight away get into preparing for chartered accountancy or CA, CS, whatever we want to do. After a year of prep, by the way, I didn't clear my CA foundation, but I did clear my CS. I gathered some courage to walk up to my parents and speak to them, that saying that "Okay, I really am not a numbers guy. I want to pursue something on the creative side." And a little bit of conversation with my dad, and he said, we could have done and started this maybe a little earlier. But nevertheless, that was the conversation that we had, and
After the conversation with your dad, then what happened?
so that was great, and so we finally decided because, and my uncle was also in the room, and then we spoke about कि I want to study design. डिज़ाइन के अंदर क्या पढ़ोगे? मैंने कहा मुझे नहीं पता. I really don't know. Maybe I want to get into advertising, or maybe I want to study design. And at that point in time, design meant only fashion. And the moment you say fashion design, my uncle said कि अरे दर्जी क्यों बनना है? And you see the kind of conversations you used to have, and this is again in 1999. So any which ways, I kind of convinced them, and I met someone as an extended family member who had actually done his design and studied design at NIFT. And through that, my window to the world actually opened up. Okay, what happens in design schools and stuff. Obviously, I mean, while during the prep there was a mix of high and low. I used to practically wake up every day 4 o'clock, and then do a lot of live sketches and sketching and preps for how you prepare for the for any of these design colleges and stuff. A lot of times I used to sketch and go with a lot of excitement and show it to him, and then used to tear it up and say, "What the hell? I mean, you're not going to get through." So obviously, I mean, your heart gets broken because you've just moved in from a career shift of being a chartered accountant and moving into this, and then suddenly realizing, am I even good fit for it? So, but nevertheless, I mean, I think we went ahead with it, and I cracked my NIFT in 2000. So I got through NIFT Gandhinagar, and I think by far one of the best things and best moments in my life uh, as a 21-year-old. Then from there on, I mean, that was a completely different world. There were a lot of cultural shocks when you go from Jaipur and your first time going out and all of that. And, you know, I don't need to say it loud, but yeah, you know what happens in design colleges and schools as well. So there was a lot of cultural shifts, but that mix, the kind of people that we spend, the kind of mentors that you have actually shaped your design thinking competencies. So a lot of credit to any of these design schools and colleges who actually bring in or set in curriculum and academia that actually shapes your design thinking. And at that point in time, obviously, retail was on the, or was brimming. There was no social media in 2003. I'm speaking of, a handful of brands who were there on the internet also, and getting it. So I was really proud when I in 2002 and in fact 2003 when I first had my Yahoo email ID, and that was my moment. Ki, okay, I also have a presence on the internet. But moving from there, I got placed. So we sat for placements in Mumbai, and I got placed in Mumbai itself. I had a 3-year stint at Mumbai. Loved the city, the vibe, and all of that. And obviously, when you walk into a corporate-ish environment, And Mumbai being Mumbai, I mean, it has a lot of layers to it, and I started romanticizing whatever I was doing. But when you actually move from a college life and come to a corporate side of it, you suddenly realize that there's a lot of mismatch. That was a very protected environment. There was a certain kind of a learning. There was a classroom feeling to it, and now you're thrown into the ocean. And that's where the real learning actually started. And I was again blessed to have a great team, great set of mentors, bosses and stuff who actually shaped how execution happens. So every guy can have a brilliant idea, but how do you actually execute it matters. And post my 3 years at Mumbai, moved with Levi's to Bangalore. Bangalore is a great city, but cultural mismatch again for me, and that's where uh, in the first couple of years I struggled and I said, I want to rush back to Mumbai, but I think the city absorbed me completely, and I mean this being 20th year of me being here. Moved to post Levi's and moved to Aditya Birla, and across these 9-10 years, that the kind of mix of teams and the kind of brands that I've worked with, there was a lot of cross-functional learning that happened, and I started to evolve as a from a designer to a design thinker. Started asking whys before how and what. So a lot of things actually shifted. We got a window into retail, how retail functions, what are the operation side of it, how do manufacturing happens, how do trends get analyzed, what marketing means, and all of those things. So eventually, around 2008-9, it was already about 8-10 years of the stint, and recession hit, and we were destined to start off the next chapter, which is where we got thrown into a scenario where practically no jobs on hand, and you have choice to kind of either sulk, uh, crib, or actually start to swim. And I was fortunate to have and meet one of my friends, and now obviously a co-founder, Tuhin Roy. With him, we started the next chapter, Jumping Goose.
So what's the story behind Jumping Goose then?
Can we keep it for another day?
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Okay. Thank you.